As the horizon pierced through the dense clouds enveloping Aqua X, the crew could feel the anticipation electrifying the air. Captain Ilara Voss stood firm at the helm, her eyes keenly scanning the tumultuous sea below, illuminated every so often by flashes of lightning. "Hold tight, crew. We're making our descent." Kira, the energetic pilot, maneuvered the craft expertly, her heart racing in tandem with Ilara's. Once the ship broke through the clouds, they were met with a breathtaking panorama. Floating islands scattered across a sprawling azure ocean, gleaming with bioluminescent flora. Upon landing, the crew stepped onto the soft, moist ground. Mira's voice echoed with excitement as she began collecting samples of luminescent plants. These could revolutionize energy sources. But suddenly, ominous clouds gathered, and the wind whipped violently. "Secure the equipment," Ilara shouted, her instincts flaring. Out of nowhere, a monstrous wave surged, accompanied by the deafening roar of an underwater volcano erupting. In the ensuing chaos, a massive shadow emerged from the water. The Leviathan, a mythical guardian of Aqua X. Awestruck, the crew stood side by side, realizing their adventure had only just begun. Far from the ocean, in a desolate desert landscape, Zirath, a proud Zarkian warrior, received alarming reports about the human expedition on Aqua X. As he listened to tales of the explorers, his mind was filled with the recollections of ancient Zarkian legends, ominous stories of creatures lurking beneath the waves, aquatic monsters rumored to have wreaked havoc on his people. The council convened as worry spread. The elders spoke with veiled discontent over the humans' intentions. "They will disrupt our balance, take what is ours," one elder warned. Fueled by centuries of mistrust, Zareth felt a duty to protect his people and confront the perceived threat. "I will assess them," he vowed, masking his uncertainty behind a facade of confidence. As his training dictated, he prepared for the mission, outlining strategies for reconnaissance. Yet deep down, tension gnawed at him. Curiosity mingled with apprehension. Would these humans actually be a threat, or were they simply seeking knowledge? In the face of duty and internal conflict, Zirath set his sights on Aqua X, resolved to unveil the truth behind the new arrival. Amid the chaos swirling around Aqua X, the humans set out on a mission to explore nearby floating islands. Ilara, Mira, Kira, and Theo were the first to spot Zareth, stealthily observing them from a distance. "Stay sharp. We may not be alone," Ilara warned. As they approached the edge of the island, swords drawn, Zareth confronted the humans, eyeing them with suspicion. "Who are you? What do you seek on Aqua X?" he demanded, his stance unwavering. Ilara took a step forward in diplomacy. "We are explorers, not enemies. We mean no harm. We're trying to understand this planet and its wonders." Before they could settle their differences, the ground trembled, and an enormous creature burst from the depths, wailing. Instinctively, all hostilities faded as they found themselves battling the creature together. Ilara and Zareth fought back to back, witnessing firsthand each other's skills and strength. Once the creature was subdued, both sides breathed heavily, a tense silence that followed. "Perhaps we misjudged each other," Zareth said, extending a hand to Ilara in a silent agreement for a temporary truce. Their worlds, once separate, now entwined in a struggle for survival. With the dust settling from their first battle together, mutual respect simmered beneath the surface. "We are still not sure we can trust each other," Zareth stated cautiously, keeping an eye on the human team. "We need to assess this situation fully," Ilara replied, her voice firm with a mix of hope and wariness. The teams gathered around a makeshift campfire that night, sharing stories amid flickering flames. Over warm meals, Mira passionately detailed their findings on Aqua X's ecosystem and the creatures that flourished there. Zareth listened intently, seeing the spark of unity that had ignited during their fight. Days passed as they began joint expeditions, mapping the terrain and gathering samples. Ilara, driven by determination, insisted they approach this planet with reverence, while Zirath educated them on Zarkian practices rooted in respect for nature. Bonding through trials and shared discoveries, they grew closer. Cultural exchanges unfolded. Humans shared tales of Earth, each story enriching the Zarkian perspective, while Zareth spoke of legends kept alive over generations. Slowly, the lines dividing them began to blur, opening pathways for collaboration and understanding. With their tentative truce in place, the team embarked on ambitious joint explorations. Ilara insisted they document everything meticulously, ensuring their discoveries served the greater good. "This planet has a rhythm. We must listen," she said, guiding them through the bioluminescent forests. Mira shared her findings about the flora, her enthusiasm infectious, as she explained how the unique properties could revolutionize energy sources. These organisms not only sustain the ecosystem, but could also help us develop sustainable technologies, she urged, igniting excitement among both worlds. Zareth observed Mira's undying excitement, having initially regarded the humans as mere intruders. The more they worked together, the more he saw the potential of combining their knowledge. "Perhaps the humans create change using their innovations, but we balance the chaos with our traditions," he remarked one evening, reflecting on how both cultures held strengths that complemented each other. Conversations deepened, revealing fears and misconceptions that shaped their beliefs. Realizing how their different perspectives propelled discoveries, they slowly began to see each other not as enemies, but as allies striving toward a shared destiny. As the collaborative spirit flourished, Mira learned more about the Leviathan from ancient texts, discovering its vital role within the ecosystem of Aqua X. The Leviathan represents the planet's lifeblood. It protects, nourishes, and maintains the balance of nature, she shared one stormy evening. While Mira delved into research on Leviathan lore, Zareth quietly contemplated its significance within Zarkian history. "We've always believed that it brings storms and devastation, but what if it's here to protect us?" he wondered, facing skepticism from his fellow Zarkians. That night, a storm raged outside, reminiscent of old tales of catastrophic events. Creating an atmosphere of uncertainty, both groups gathered in the common room of their base, discussing their planned exploration of the underwater caverns. Instead of viewing the Leviathan as just a mythic threat, they debated honoring it through their endeavors. "Let's learn from it rather than fear it," Mira encouraged. "If we come together as stewards, we can find ways to coexist." United by their newfound cooperative spirit, they resolved to seek understanding of the Leviathan, entering into deeper territory with trepidation and respect. As they delved further into underwater research, anticipation swelled within both teams. They prepared to study the underwater volcanoes, hoping to discover the secrets locked within the ocean depths. Both Ilara and Zareth walked along the rocky shore, plotting their course together. "Understanding volcanic activity could unlock potential energy for both our worlds," Ilara explained, her voice a blend of excitement and trepidation. Yet, Zareth's traditionalists began to voice their concerns. The elder council members warned them of the consequences. "Tampering with the land invites ruin upon us," one elder asserted during their debate. Zareth found himself caught in the middle, torn between his instincts to protect his people and trust in his newfound companions. The debate stirred emotions, revealing cultural divides that hinted at underlying fears. "Balance, not destruction, can be our goal," Ilara suggested, urging them to embrace innovation alongside caution. In the face of resistances, each character confronted inner doubts about their convictions. Together, they faced challenges head-on, testing their collaboration under stress and building a foundation of shared belief, solidifying the real potential in their unity and exploration of Aqua X. News of Zareth's favorable interactions with the human group quickly reached the Zarkian homeworld. Traditionalist council members reacted with rare anger, expressing concern over his alliance with beings inherently deemed dangerous. "What will they take from us next?" one elder questioned, raising discontent among extreme factions. Zareth braced himself, feeling the pressure of his community bearing down upon him, and returned home to address the growing worries. As council members summoned him, their debates turned venomous. "You jeopardize our legacy, Zareth. Make no mistake. They will exploit our land," another elder thundered. Determined to defend his newfound friendships and the idea of coexistence, Zareth spoke passionately. We cannot remain chained to fear. Change is upon us, and the alliances we forge today will shape our future. But dissent echoed throughout the council, creating a rift. As factions formed opposing views, Zareth found himself fighting not just for his allies, but also for a new vision of Zarkian identity. Secret meetings surfaced among radical traditionalists, plotting sabotage against the human expedition that threatened to sever progress before it truly began. Amid tension rising between the factions, Ilara and Mira hosted a cultural exchange, showcasing art and music from their respective worlds. The energy that filled the air transformed the camp as laughter broke out, easing some of the apprehension threatening to engulf them. "Let's show them what our cultures embody," Mira suggested. As they shared stories beneath the stars, Ilara emphasized the spirit of exploration that thrived on Earth. "We seek beauty in the unknown, and we must carry that spirit forward." Her speech ignited warmth among the Zarkians. Seeing a glimpse of human resilience, Zareth began to rethink the harsh perceptions held toward the humans. Their shared experiences became a testament to breaking down barriers, forging connections through storytelling and collaboration as they embraced diversity. As friendships blossomed and trust solidified, challenges seemed surmountable. Through joyful moments spent together and overcoming fears, humans and Zarkians grew closer. However, lingering uncertainties from hidden factions remained, dark clouds ready to strike. With anticipation and tensions intertwined, the alliance between humans and Zarkians was tested once again. Ilara and Zareth led an expedition to navigate deeper into the volcanic region, an area both teams deemed critical for their studies. As they prepared, secrets simmered beneath the surface, exacerbated by traditionalists who voiced their outrage. Ilara insisted on working within the guidelines of ecological balance. "We can learn from these natural wonders without taking," she vowed. Zareth felt the pressure, wondering if they were ready to face the unknowns awaiting them. Meanwhile, the groups plunged into the treacherous waters, learning to rely on each other in collaborative maneuvers. Together they marveled at the beauty hidden within roaring lava, discovering organic life flourishing in this seemingly hostile environment. The profound bond deepening with each challenge reinforced their connection, grounding intention into newfound cooperation. However, as whispers of doubts circulated among the Zarkians, they became ever closer to discovering whether unity could withstand the strain. The expedition took a fateful turn when an unexpected eruption caused chaos amid their journey. The ground shook violently, and molten rock flew into the air, sending shockwaves of panic across the group. "Everyone to higher ground!" Ilara shouted urgently, gripping the edge of the rocky formation. Working together, they navigated through the chaos, urgency fueling their actions. Zareth, realizing Kira was trapped under debris, acted swiftly, pushing through the crumbling path to reach her. "Grab my hand," he yelled, pulling her to safety just in time. In the midst of turmoil, both factions saw their hesitance turn into teamwork. Mira and Theo coordinated evacuation efforts as debris fell, every second precious. It was a defining moment of courage that showcased a bond deeper than their previous fears. The volcano finally calmed, leaving behind the destruction, but also a transformed understanding of each other. Ilara locked eyes with Zareth, silently acknowledging their commitment to protecting both their worlds. "Together, we are stronger," she said. Their connection now forged through shared experiences, they emerged emboldened and united. Despite the distressing eruption, the expedition resumed, determined to uncover the mysteries of Aqua X and its history. As trust deepened, some Zarkians remained skeptical. Meetings took place to address concerns as mistrust loomed under the surface of their newfound alliance. "Humans will only take. We cannot let them learn our secrets," declared one traditionalist, drawing a line in the sand. Ilara confronted opposition, challenging the notion with resolute conviction. "Knowledge belongs to everyone. We must collaborate to ensure our cultures thrive." They discovered that myths of the Leviathan painted it as a guardian who must be respected, yet some insisted the myth embodied danger. The radicals began plotting sabotage, believing it was the only way to maintain control over their territory. Zareth found himself battling disloyalty among his own, torn between his growing bond with the humans and loyalty to his heritage. As tensions escalated, both factions understood the importance of transparency, willing to put everything at risk for the alliance that both fought for, even amidst uncertainty. Their quest continued, and in their relentless pursuit of knowledge, the Zarkians and humans uncovered ancient ruins deep beneath Aqua X's surface. Surrounded by shimmering murals depicting the Leviathan, they marveled at the artistry and history captured in stone. Mira's eyes lit up with excitement as she studied the artifacts. These tell tales of unity and resilience. The Zarkians and humans once revered the Leviathan together. She took meticulous notes, uncovering a shared ancestry that had long been forgotten. Zareth recognized the significance of the findings, a physical representation of what they could achieve together. "We can revive this respect, harness it as a bridge toward understanding," he stated resolutely. Fellow explorers gathered around, fascinated by the historical evidence signifying what it meant to be protectors of Aqua X. "We must ensure these stories are not lost," Alara agreed. As they dug deeper into the history, they started to construct a new narrative, one based on respect and collaboration. Their discovery became a beacon of hope amid distrust, prompting both groups to navigate through their misconceptions and unearthed fears, a united front forged in the name of Aqua X. In the days that followed, Mira shared her findings about the Leviathan and the historical significance it held for both species. "It symbolizes the balance we must respect to survive. Rather than viewing it as a menace, we should honor it," Mira urged. Zareth felt the weight of whispers from his peers. The stories hanging heavy in the air created a rift in belief. "The Council will never accept this," he admitted, fearing it would only deepen the divide. But Alara challenged the traditional notions that bound them. "We're not our ancestors. We can rewrite our story," she reassured him. Tension rose as council members summoned Zareth to discuss the recent discoveries. "They will bring ruin to our people," an elder warned, convinced of human exploitation. The council's backlash revealed deep-rooted fears. In a heartfelt speech, Zareth defended their alliance, citing the connection through the Leviathan. "This cannot be lost to fear. Change is inevitable. We must leave behind our past." The council deliberated, torn between preservation and progress amidst uncertainties. The dialogue ignited hope among younger Zarkians who recognized the need to evolve. Together, they embraced the dawn of a new era, striving for understanding. But the shadows of the past still loomed. Just as progress seemed possible, unforeseen disaster struck Aqua X again when tremors rattled the land. As the ground split, fissures exposed the underlying tension brewing within the factions. Chaos erupted across their encampment, revealing fractures at the heart of their alliance. In the midst of the turmoil, Alara's heart raced as she led her team back to safety. "We need to evacuate now," she shouted, her voice barely piercing the cacophony of destruction. Yet panic grew among Zarkian rebels, who believed their faith was being shattered. As confusion waged, radical traditionalists launched an attack against the humans, believing the Leviathan would rise against them. "We must unite to confront this threat," Zareth exclaimed as he rallied alongside Alara. The clashing factions mirrored the dissonance within themselves, testing every bond forged in the name of survival. With destruction unfolding, both groups recognized the complexity of partnership as no longer a choice, but a necessity to face the impending peril. While solidarity began to fracture, Alara, Mira, and Zareth doubled down, their loyalty tested but not broken, standing firm against both internal and external foes. In the aftermath of the disaster, the camps were in disarray. Alara and Zareth called for a meeting, urging their factions to come together in the name of survival and cooperation. "We cannot let fear dictate our actions any longer," Alara proclaimed. Hope and resolve emanated from her words as their community gathered. Elders and young alike exchanged glances, solidarity forming as discussions of unity resurfaced. "We need to protect Aqua X together," Mira advised, her voice representing a bridge between both worlds. "Our strengths are multiplied when we combine our forces." As heated discussions unfolded, new plans began to take shape. They synthesized traditional practices with innovative techniques to not only survive, but adapt to the challenges ahead. "We stand at the precipice of transformation," Zareth stated, rallying both sides to take responsibility for Aqua X's future. Under the Leviathan's watchful gaze, they forged alliances rooted in authentic efforts to respect the planet. The Zarkians and humans recognized that both their cultures could thrive while ensuring mutual protection of their shared home. Together, they emerged stronger than before, their differences becoming the foundation for resurgent unity. As news of the new alliance spread back to the Zarkian homeworld, the sense of change resonated throughout both communities. Young Zarkians listened intently to Zareth's speeches, advocating progress and understanding. "It is not the humans we fear, but our inability to accept change," he explained passionately. In council meetings, Zareth confronted defiance from traditionalists, challenging their outdated beliefs about humans being a threat. The younger generation began to rally behind him, invigorated by hopes of a brighter future. "Our history is filled with lessons. Let's break the cycle of fear," he declared, calling for action and commitment to the coalition. The council members begrudgingly listened, seeing willingness among the youth who sparkled with ambition and intrigue. Murmurs of dissent played like echoes in the shadows. The traditionalist leaders, emboldened by their age-old beliefs, grew restless, inciting fear about the humans threatening their existence. Tension escalated as the Zarkians prepared to face not just external challenges, but internal crises as well. Believing that they might be leading themselves into oblivion, Zareth realized the battle for acceptance had only just begun, and the hearts and minds of his people hung in the balance. Just as cooperation flourished, whispers of radical factions resurfaced in both communities. Members of the Traditionalist Council found ways to undermine the burgeoning alliance, plotting against the humans who dared to challenge their beliefs. "Ilara cannot be trusted. We must sever ties," one leader urged their followers. The radicals swiftly began launching attacks that would stampede progress and protect what they believed was theirs alone. Zareth felt the growing pressure within. He carried the burden of his people's discontent while trying desperately to unite antagonistic forces. "We must rise against this madness," he rallied his allies, urging them to stand strong against extremism. Distrust blurred perceptions, leading to skirmishes that divided the encampment. Ilara confronted Zarkians who sought to provoke, revealing how common humanity extended beyond fear. "We can choose to heal, not harm," she challenged, seeking to rebuild bridges amid chaos. Conflict loomed, thrumming like distant thunder. Both factions began to question their perception of the enemy. Heightened anxieties threatened to suffocate the growing camaraderie that had surfaced. Their alliance hung delicately in the balance. As fear overshadowed hope, both the Zarkian and human communities prepared for confrontation. The radicals rallied supporters, claiming they would protect Aqua X from perceived threats posed by the humans, igniting tension. "Stand firm, my people. We cannot let them infiltrate," the radical leader shouted, pushing a dangerous narrative that resonated with fear. Doom hung overhead. The day grew darker as both camps braced for the inevitable clash of ideologies. Ilara and Zareth worked tirelessly to quell rising hostilities, urging unity against the impending chaos. In the heart of the encampment, the two leaders stood before their people, their voices unwavering. "We can defend our home without tearing each other apart," Ilara exclaimed, rallying the crowd with fierce determination. Against a backdrop of mounting dread, Ilara and Zareth forged an unwavering resolution. They were prepared to protect Aqua X from any threat that might arise, even if that meant confronting their fears when faced with enemies from within. As the shouts rang out and violence threatened to erupt, the only path forward lay rooted in their shared commitment to unity and understanding. In the climactic battle for Aqua X, the two factions clashed amidst the chaos of nature and anger. Suddenly, the Leviathan surged forth from the depths, its majestic form cutting through the turmoil like a beacon of hope. As both groups found themselves battling for survival, they faced an old enemy, the raging storms that had once been embodied in their fears. "Together, "We all fight for Aqua X," Ilara shouted, hands outstretched as Zareth fought beside her. The eruption became a physical manifestation of their internal struggles, each character fighting against their doubts and their histories. United by a common enemy, their fears transformed into an overwhelming sense of purpose. In the heat of battle, Ilara spotted Zarkian rebels struggling against the tide. "Help them!" she shouted, grasping for understanding as they worked together, endlessly pushing against the unyielding tide. As calm emerged from the storm, the two forces fell silent, exhausted but united. Standing together, they witnessed the Leviathan rise once more in a show of solidarity, a reminder that unity could bridge even the deepest divides. In the aftermath of their battle, Ilara, Mira, and Zareth stood before their people, breathing in a new alliance. "Together we are guardians of Aqua X," Ilara declared, solidifying their promise toward a future of coexistence, filled with fresh beginnings blossoming from a tumultuous past.